This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon, guys. My name is Armando Perez, and I'm here with LRGDC along with Mr. Rick Carrera. We're here to do the RFP for the tire disposal services. If you have any questions, please refrain from asking them until the end. And again, any last minute written questions, there will be due on February the 3rd, 2021 at 12 p.m. The proposal deadline for the RFP is February 12th, 2021 at 12 p.m. We will be having our public proposal opening on February 16th, 2021 at 2 p.m. The official time clock will be the LRGVDC phone system. The proposals will be evaluated by the LRGVDC staff on date that best serves the process, but before board approval. Interviews are to be determined. The selection considered for board approval will be on February 24th, 2021 at 12 p.m. The project is scheduled to begin on March 1st, 2021, and project end date is yet to be determined.
Armando, let everybody know the start date. Actually, the pre-bid started at 2:05 p.m. 2:05 p.m. February 2nd, 2021, and this session is being recorded. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. The authorized agency contact offers may submit the questions and inquiries via email only to lrgbdc@lrgbdc.org. The LRGVDC reserves the right to respond to any questions that may jeopardize the solicitation or selection process. No phone or in-person inquiries regarding the proposal shall be conducted other than during the pre-bid conference, presentation, and questions and answers. Questions submitted in writing via email will be answered within 3 business days. Inquiries, questions, and responses shall be posted as addendums on the LRGVDC website, www.lrgbdc.org/procurement.html. Offers should frequently check for periodic updates. Project submission. All proposals shall be submitted electronically and must have RFP tire disposal services in the subject line of the email. All proposals must be emailed to lrgbdc@lrgbdc.org. RFP tire disposal services. Fax copies are not accepted. LRGDC office hours are Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Due to the COVID pandemic, offices are closed to the general public. And just a little bit of background information, the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council is one of the 24 state planning regions, an association of the local governments formed under Texas law to address issues and planning needs that cross the boundaries of individual local governments. So LRGVDC coordinates planning efforts, provides a regional approach to the problem solving through cooperative action, provides direct services when applicable. The designated geographical service area is the 3,643 square miles of Cameron, Willacy, and Hidalgo counties. The LRGDC is comprised of programs in the fields of economic development, public safety, transportation, environmental services, and health and human services. Funding to support these programs originates from local, state, and federal sources. LRGDC is governed by a 27-member board of directors, of whom 2/3 are required to be elected officials of the designated boundaries. And the project summary as follows. The LRGDC is soliciting requests for proposals for the selection of vendors to provide tire disposal services for the LRGDC's road to recycling tire collection events. The services requested can be found in section 2.3 scope of work. The services are provided to local municipalities throughout Hidalgo, Cameron, and Willacy counties that participate in the tire collection events, and vendors are invited to provide services to all or some of those areas. The quantity of services needed will vary on event participation and the number of locations served by the potential vendor. There isn't a minimum or maximum amount of services that can be quantified, thus there isn't a guarantee of either a minimum or a maximum. The information obtained will be utilized by LRGDC to evaluate and determine the product or services needed for proper tire disposal. Each interested vendor should utilize the criteria outlined in this request for proposal and should serve as a guidance. The award of any contract or agreement is contingent upon the receipt or availability of adequate project funding. Vendors are provided to submit proposals on all services they provide. It's probable that the multiple vendors will be selected based on ability and cost effectiveness to provide services to a given geographic area. Illegally dumped tires are and have been of primary concern to all the entities within the LRGDC region. Tires are a growing problem that present serious environmental and public health concerns for the residents. The illegal dumping of tires and tire piles across the region have become a severe epidemic, causing hazardous and waterways, threatening economic development, impacting tourism areas, and serving as a breed ground for rodents and mosquitoes that carry harmful viruses. The LRGDC therefore conducts events such as the Road to Recycling Tire Collection event to help mitigate the risks of tire dumping sites. And the following is the project scope. The offer shall provide a proposal in accordance with the terms and conditions set forth herein that provides service options according to the project scope. The scope of services needed for the Road to Recycling event are comprised of pickup, transportation, disposal, and processing, destruction of tires to a compact but reusable material. Vendors are invited to provide a proposal that includes all of the services needed. However, vendors are also invited to provide a proposal for the services they provide, if not all services requested. Vendors will also need to provide the following information. Provide proof of required permits that comply with the Texas Commission of Environmental Quality, TCEQ, requirements for transporting, processing, and possible tire storage. How long has your company been in operation? Provide operation hours. Operation hours should include services for disposal on the day of the event and should accommodate participating municipalities' operating hours. Provide explanation for the following. How will tires be processed? Where will tires be disposed, landfill, or contracted to recycle with vendor? If recycled with a subcontracted vendor, provide company name and address. Recycling tires is preferred if the recycling tires describe process in detail. Provide name of machine or machines being utilized to shred down tires and provide the size in which it has been broken down to. Explain the type of services your company provides. Fill out the rate card in section 4. For example, containers, transportation, costs for tire disposal, invoicing, etc. Has your company been cited in the past 5 years and has it been resolved? Who cited you? What was the issue, date, or proof that citation was resolved? The contract term, the LRGDC is seeking an agreement for a 1-year period with 2-year options that could be exercised at the discretion of the LRGDC. The initial 3-year period would span from the start date of the agreement. The following is evaluation criteria. Proposals will be selected based on the ability of each bidder to carry out all requirements contained in this RFP, which includes the following information provided in response to the scope of work in section 2.3. Incomplete or late proposals or those found to be default, in poor standing or reflective of questionable business or ethical practices will not be considered. It is the intent of the LRGDC to enter into contractual agreements with the most qualified, reasonable respondent or respondents whose submittal is responsive to the solicitation, meeting all qualifications necessary to complete the prescribed scope of work with the greatest overall value to the LRGDC. Additionally, the following criteria shall be used to evaluate submissions. Proof of required permits to comply with the TCEQ requirements for tire disposal. Profitable operations greater than 3 years in the Rio Grande Valley. Introduction, knowledge, experience, resources, and value-added services that meet the basic scope of work requirements. Proposed project services and cost proposal exemplifying total overall quality. The following is a budget. The following is provided in the compliance with the financial grant requirements of the federal funding agency, TECQ. LGDC will contract one or more proposals in accordance with the requirements and project scope of this RFP. Submission and approvals deadline, again, the deadline and location, the LGDC will receive all proposals electronically. All proposals must be submitted to the email below. February 12, 2021 at 12 p.m. is the deadline. And the email is lrgbdc@lrgbdc.org. Submit the proposal of a PDF file or similar via email to lrgbdc@lrgbdc.org. With the file submitted must reflect a scanned copy of an original signature. The submittal must include, if applicable, a copy of the hub subcontracting plan as a PDF file or similar. Late received proposals will not be returned to the respondent but will remain unopened. The LRGBDC will not acknowledge or receive proposals that are delivered by phone or fax. Properly submitted proposals will not be returned to the respondents. Proposal materials should be electronically submitted via email and must clearly identify the submittal deadline, the RFP number, and the name of the return address of the respondent. Evaluation of proposals. The evaluation of proposals shall be based on the requirements described in the RFP. All the proposals submitted, all the properly submitted proposals will be reviewed, evaluated, and ranked by the LRGDC. Respondent or respondents may be considered and awarded to provide tire disposal services if they have submitted proposals for, if all evaluation criteria are met. Payment. If respondent or respondents' proposals are selected to participate, all manifest the number count of tires collected per entity shall be submitted to LRGDC within 30 days of the event. If not submitted on a timely manner, this could affect payment processing. LRGDC reservation of rights. The LRGDC may evaluate the proposals based on the anticipated completion of all or any portion of the project. The LRGDC reserves the right to divide the project into multiple parts, to reject any and all proposals and resolicit for new proposals, or to reject any and all proposals and temporarily or permanently abandon the project. LRGDC makes no representations, written or oral, that it will enter into any form of agreement with any respondent to this RFP for any project, and no such representation is intended or should be construed by the issuance of this RFP. Acceptance and evaluation methodology. By submitting this proposal in response to this RFP, respondents accepts the evaluation process and acknowledges and accepts that determination of the most qualified firm or firms will require subjective judgments by the LRGDC. Reimbursement for costs. No reimbursement for costs. Respondent acknowledges that accepts that any costs incurred from the respondent's participation in this RFP shall be at the sole risk and responsibility of the respondent. Eligibility respondents. Only individual firms or lawfully formed businesses, organizations may apply. This does not preclude a respondent from using consultants. The LRGDC will contract only with the individual firm or firms or formal organization or organizations that submits a proposal. Historically, underutilized business submittal requirements. It is the policy of the LRGDC to promote and encourage contracting and subcontracting opportunities for historically underutilized businesses in all contracts. The LRGDC has determined that subcontracting opportunities are possible, thus a hub subcontracting plan is an element of the proposal. Pursuant to the hub program, if under the terms of any agreement or contractual arrangements resulting from this RFP, respondent subcontracts of any services, then respondent must make a good faith effort to utilize hubs certified by the Texas Procurement and Support Services Division of the Texas Comptrollers of Public Accounts or any successor agency, collectively TPSs. Additionally, compliance with good faith effort guidelines is a condition precedent to awarding any agreement or contractual arrangements resulting from this RFP. Respondent acknowledges that if selected by the LRGDC, its obligation to make a good faith effort to utilize hubs when subcontracting the services will continue throughout the term of all arrangements and contractual arrangements resulting from this RFP. Furthermore, any subcontracting of the services by respondent is subject to review by the LRGDC to ensure compliance with the hub program. Sales and use taxes. Section 151.311 tax code as amended effective October 1st, 1993 permits that the purchase of free of state sales and use taxes of tangible personal property to be incorporated into realty in the performance of a contract for an improvement to realty for certain exempt entities that include LRGDC. The section further permits the purchase of tax-free tangible personal property for use of performance of such a contract if the property is necessary and essential for the performance of the contract and completely consumed at the job site. In addition, the section permits the purchase tax-free of a tangible service for use in the performance of such a contract if the service is performed at the job site and if the contract expressly requires the specific service to be provided or purchased by the person performing the contract, or the service is integral to the performance of the contract. Certification of franchise tax status. Respondents are advised that the successful respondent will be required to submit certification of the franchise tax status as required by the state law HB 175 Act 70th Legislator RS 1987 Chapter 283 page 3242. The contractor agrees that each subcontractor and supplier under the contract will also provide a certification of the franchise tax status. Delinquency in paying child support under section 231-006 Family Code, the vendor or applicant certifies that the individual business entity named in this contract bid or application is not eligible to receive this specified grant, loan, or payment, and acknowledges that this contract may be terminated and payment may be withheld if this certification is inaccurate. State registration of engineering firms. Responding to the advice that the Texas Board of Professions Engineers requires that any entity providing engineering services to the public must register with the Texas Board of Professional Engineers. An entity is defined as a real sole proprietorship firm, partnership, corporation, or joint stock association. Disclosure of the intent parties status. In this proposal, respondents must agree to comply with the section 2252.908 Texas Government Code, disclosure of interest party status, and 1 Texas Administration Code section 461 through 46.3. Disclosure of the interest parties regulations as implemented by the Texas Ethics Commission, including, among other things, providing the TEC and LRGDC with the information required by the disclosure of interested parties statute and disclosure of interested parties regulations on the form promulgated by the TEC. The form will be required to be submitted to the LRGDC prior to the countersigning of the final agreement and not submitted with this RFP. The following is proposing conditions. Proposal submission. Sealed proposals are invited by the LRGDC for all labor, services, materials, supplies, equipment, tools, transportation, and other facilities necessary or proper to meet the requirements of the specifications included in the scope of service. The LRGDC may waive and or disqualify any proposal not prepared and submitted in accordance with the provisions herein. Proposals will be received electronically via email. Any proposals received after the time and date deadline will not be considered. Also, any proposals may be withdrawn prior to the scheduled time for the opening thereof. Proposals must be submitted on the forms provided thereof by the LRGDC. All blank spaces in the form shall be filled and the amount shall be stated both in words and numerals. The signature shall be longhand and completed form shall be without erasure. Interlineations, alterations, or any conditions inserted by the offeror, submit a scanned copy of the proposal that reflects an original signature. Status of information. The LRGDC shall not be bound by oral or written information released prior to the issuance of the solicitation. All inquiries regarding this application must be submitted in writing by email to lrgdc@lrgdc.org. Offers are advised that from the date the solicitation is issued until the award of contract, no contract with the personnel or governing body related to the solicitation is permitted except as authorized, such as email inquiries or scheduled pre-solicitation conference. Qualifying conditions. The proposal shall state whether the offer is a corporation or a co-partnership, and the corporation under the laws of what state, and have the corporate seal affixed. If a co-partnership, specify the full name or names of interested parties. The successful offerer shall submit a certificate of incorporation in the state of Texas or proof of authorization to do business in the state of Texas. The contractor shall procure and maintain insurance for the duration of the contract. The contractor shall indemnify and hold the LRGDC harmless. The contractor shall pay any and all federal, state, county, or city taxes which may be applicable herein. The LRGDC shall not be liable for any costs incurred by offerers in the preparation of proposals or for any work performed in connection therewith. The LRGDC reserves the right to postpone or cancel the solicitation and to reject any or all proposals. Non-collusive proposing certificate. All offerers must complete the non-collusive collusion certification included submitted as part of the proposal. Any offer submitted without the fully executed non-collusion certifications will be rejected. If in any case the offer cannot make the foregoing certification, the offer shall so state and shall furnish with the proposal a signed statement which sets forth in detail the reason therefor. The offer whose proposal is accepted shall, after written notice by the designated agency staff member, enter into a contract and furnish an insurance certificate complying with the provisions of insurance specification. The notice shall be served personally or by the mailing thereof in a postpaid wrapper addressed to the offer at the address given in the proposal. The contract must be approved by the LRGDC. The contract shall be governed and construed under the state laws of state of Texas. Venue for any and all disputes under the contract shall be in Hidalgo County, Texas. Any and all settlement discussions, examinations before trial, dispositions, or any other proceedings related to any disputes under the contract shall also be held in Hidalgo County, Texas. Addenda. Any addenda issued during the time of the proposing must be included in the proposal, and enacting the contract, they shall become a part thereof. LRGDC will issue responses to inquiries and any other corrections or amendments it deems necessary in the written addenda issued prior to the proposal deadline. Offers should not rely on any representations, statements, or explanations other than those made in this bid or in a formal addendum. The offer should verify with the designated contact person prior to submitting proposal that all addenda have been received. Offers are required to acknowledge the number of addenda received as part of their proposals. Confidential proprietary information. Offers should specifically identify those portions of the proposal to be confidential proprietary information or trade secrets and provide justification why such material upon request should not be disclosed. Oral presentations and interviews. The LRGDC may require offers to give oral or visual presentations in support of their proposals to the exhibit or otherwise demonstrate the information contained therein. Offers acceptance of contract provisions. By submitting a proposal to the LRGDC, the offer accepts the standard contract provisions that will become part of the final contract subject to the arrangement by both parties. Contract award. Any proposed contract award or awards shall be subject to all required approvals. Contract award or awards shall be subject to the conditions listed in the solicitation where applicable. Contraction contracts. The following provisions apply to continue contracts awarded as a result of this solicitation. The contract is subject to modification or cancellation if adequate funds are not appropriated to the LRGDC to support the continuation of the performance in any fiscal year succeeding the first year. The contract is subject to modification or cancellation if the contractor's performance is not satisfactory, and the contract coordinator will notify the contractor as soon as it is practicable that the funds are not available for the continuation of the contract term for each succeeding year. Force majeure. Neither respondent nor agency shall be liable to the other for any delay in or failure of performance of any requirement included in a contract resulting in this solicitation caused by force majeure. The existence of such causes of delay or failure shall extend to the period performance until after the causes of delay or failure to have been removed, provided the non-performing party exercises all reasonable due diligence to perform. Force majeure is defined as acts of God, war, fires, explosions, hurricanes, floods, failure of transportation, or other causes that are beyond the reasonable control of either party, and that by exercise of due foresight, such party could not reasonably have had expected to avoid, and which by the exercise of all reasonable due diligence, such party is unable to overcome. That concludes RFP, and it opens the floor for any questions. Does anybody have any questions? Anyone?
Any questions from any interested solicitors? Anything you need to add or ask, and do that now.
Going once? Going twice? Okay.
If any questions, people are welcome to send questions after the fact to lrgbdc@lrgbdc.org. Please keep in mind the deadline for questions is
February 12th, 2021 at 12 p.m.
That's the deadline for.
Oh, I'm sorry. February 3rd, 2021 at 12 p.m.
There's the deadline for questions. So you have approximately 22 hours or 21 hours to submit any questions. Submit those to lrgbdc@lrgbdc.org. And I will hand it back to Armando to conclude.
If there are no more questions, this concludes our previous meeting for the tire disposal services. Thank you.